everybody. Orange podcast, bad episode 80. I am the science. We've been waiting to talk about this for a long time. We've got a lot of really good stuff to bring to you, so this isn't going to be crackpot conspiracy shit that you're going to hear on other places. We're just going to have a really interesting discussion about I am the science. And let me ask, JC, like when somebody's in the medical profession and they get to the vanity level of considering themselves the science and unrebukable, they doesn't normally a publication or a magazine or something, don't they say no, 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 listen, science is always challenged.
Well, I mean, let's face it, ever since and I've never made any secret about the fact that I'm of German extraction. But one of the great contributions that Germans made to modern life is the scientific method. There is an answer, all right? But yet, the answer is determined by evidence and evaluation of data to figure out what the truth is or what the true story is. We're not talking narrative here, we're talking about reality. How does penicillin uh, take out an infection? It does it by binding with the proteins in the bacterial cell wall, and the bacteria aren't able to stand up to the osmotic pressure within the body's system, and so they explode, and then the white blood cells clean up the mess. So penicillin is a catalyst for healing by your body's natural immune defenses. And that is all a function of the scientific method. And I'll even draft in Louis Pasteur and the rest of the French guys or whatever. I mean, remember the French are the East Franks, the wine sippers. The Germans are the Bavarian beer swillers, and I mean, first German brewery in the United States, Yingling. Anyway, but in as a young man, which I no longer am, in school, I relied on this. This was what it was about, hypothesis, evidence, conclusion. And to hear people in the top echelons of American life saying that the science is settled is bullshit, right? The science is never settled. The hypothesis is proven until you get contrary evidence, which should be evaluated regardless of government funding and politically approved outcomes. So I'm not going to yell at you all tonight. I'm going to talk about what's real. And when it comes to our health, it's very personal because as we sit here, Sean and I both know we're going to die someday. And as Robin Williams said in Dead Poets Society, push up daffodils, whatever, get cold or whatever. And, that doesn't scare anybody who's faithful because we know there's something beyond, that Charlie Kirk's gone on to. But the idea that climate change is settled science, the idea that the vaccine is the standard when it hasn't even been tested, this is just nonsense. And the idea that COVID-19, was a uh, came from a bat in a cave somewhere in China. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not going to yell. I said I wasn't going to yell. That's horse shit. Okay, it was never tested. It was never evaluated. We had tomes of information as to whether this can be proven, and it was never proven, and yet they wouldn't look.
Well, all right. So, Dr. I am Science now, obviously, he was a funding mechanism through NIH and
Six billion,
NIAID.
6 billion, 6 billion a year. We're talking real money.
Right. And so, like, if you're going to search for stuff on the internet outside of crackpot conspiracy theories, what you're going to find is that, and they obfuscate from Dr. I am Science that none of this was him. But what we got to get back to in 2014, We're working on a SARS-CoV-2 style virus in North Carolina, University of North Carolina. Now,
Triangle Park. Yeah,
was Doctor I Am Science there? No, but where did they get the funding grant?
from Dr.
NIAID, to perform gain of function research on this, and then we gotta go one step further. Oh, what is anthrax? And then, no, I'm not asking because it's something tied to Dr. Fauci. I'm talking about biological warfare, which for people that don't understand what a bioweapon is, it's a virus. It's a very deadly virus,
Always.
and it was a thing that like a product of the world wars that was being developed by scientists all over the place, and Dr. I Am Science absolutely was fascinated by this work and funded it. And even in 2014, Obama had to tell Fauci, "You can't fund that shit here anymore." So places like Taiwan, Ukraine, Wuhan, is where Fauci funded these projects.
Right, because the Soviets had biolabs and they were researching the same thing. They got some Nazi doctors too.
Sure.
And they were doing that, and when the Soviet Union broke up, Ukraine was an independent state, but it obviously was going to be heavily influenced by Russia. And yet in 14, Victoria Nuland and the gang, and this is the greatest hits of Orange Podcast Bad, I'm sure. But staged a color revolution, and all of a sudden the CIA and the intelligence services got control of those biolabs. And Russia knew exactly where they were, and that's one of the reasons why they were very upset. They did not want the American intel community to have a forward base as close to them as Mexico is to the United States. And
Right.
as much as people hate Putin, I can't blame him for that. I think that's a rational point of view. I don't know why you would want your rival, moral enemy, competitor, whatever you want to call us, operating right by your border with stuff like that. And obviously, what we've learned, if our eyes are open, is that we got our share of Nazi doctors too, and they are not satisfied and have not been satisfied with taking it out on our enemies. They've decided to inflict it upon us.
Well, the way I look at it, so when I look at Doctor I Am Science, I'm not using his name because we're going to get banned on any of the platforms we're on. I'm not using his name because I don't think it's worth mentioning and celebrating. When I look at Doctor I Am Science, I think he went to a point in his mind that he's like, it is totally okay to experiment, not just on the beagles but on humans so that I can gain this knowledge. And well, what do I have to do to experiment on humans? I have to take a virus and I have to make it impossibly deadly. And then I'm going to sell it as well. I'm only doing that so that I can make the cure for the most impossible deadly virus. In I would say at least half of Americans, half of Westerns, would agree with me. Is that not where gain of function has always gone? And was it not made as a weapon of war, a weapon of mass destruction?
Of course it was.
So,
It's Jack Nicholson. Listen, Jack Nicholson's one of my favorite. I can imitate him from some films or whatever, but in As Good as It Gets, he looked at Helen Hunt and said, "Is there any other way to see it? If there is, I'm open to alternative hypothesis, but the fact is, on this hypothesis, my mind is kind of closed. I don't see what else you could show me that would convince me that's not true. That is true.
that's I think the healthy American mind or Western mind would look at that and go, "Why are you designing the product that you then want to fix by telling us, well, there might be a product like this that comes out of a bat in Wuhan,
Someday,
China."
someday, yeah. And why was Moderna prompted to develop a vaccine for this same virus we didn't know existed until 2020. Uh, how can you patent that vaccine 3 years in advance, right? I mean that seems a little strange, and it doesn't pass the old Kraut smell test.
Could I ask what for people who are probably, if they're aware of what we're talking about, it please repost this on X. We have less than normal crowd because we normally don't run on Thursdays, but this is a big topic. Um, what's the difference between an mRNA vaccine and what's called a live but dead vaccine, like they do for chickenpox now? I never had a chickenpox vaccine. I had chickenpox at 16. Here I am. Still, but
Well,
that I think there needs to be a distinction between what ribonucleic vaccines are versus. Yep,
you may
right
not you
here.
may not be able to see it, but that's a
Right here, I got a
part
chicken
right
pox.
there. Yeah. I mean, our parents had such a intricate knowledge of virology that when you had one of these things going on, they had chickenpox parties. So
Parties.
you would all get it, so then you'd be immune. And the fact is, we've talked about the wonders of the human immune system, and no, I'm not going to wax poetic on it tonight. I've done that with Patrick Soon-Shiong and the interleukin 15 and all the rest of that. But the fact is that the human immune system is wondrous. And the term herd immunity, which Scott Atlas got tarred and feathered bringing up, was the idea that children are our best defense against pandemics because children's immune systems can fight off damn near anything. In fact, science has proven this as well, Dr. Science, that the 10-year-old male is probably the most indestructible form of the human species. And if you've had a 10-year-old son, you know exactly what I mean. They take chances. Things happen to them, and that it looks like they're going to be killed, and they just shake it off. They never are. Creation is wondrous, but if you don't believe in God, you don't have an appreciation of this. But the fact is, those immune systems and the interleukin and all the rest of it, the what is it, the the glycoproteins and all the rest of that form together to defend your body well into adulthood. In fact, well past 50. Only then does it start to break down because of challenges from environmental factors and things like that. And things like red light therapy, all of these immune boosters that we've talked about, including Patrick Soon-Shiong's shot, are things that amp up your immune system again and make it more vital. Um, as a personal testimony, I had COVID in 2019 before anybody even knew it existed. Nasty ass bug. Okay. And I mean, I was even working a trade show and I was not drinking beer that day. The only way I got through that show was with a 20-ounce water and a 16-ounce Gatorade every hour, or I couldn't stand. I was selling lotion of all things. I know you would come to me for beauty tips, but I couldn't smell the product anymore. I couldn't tell honeysuckle jasmine from Amazing Grace. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And the stuff that's coming out of my nose,
Yep.
I don't even want to describe it. I'd lay down every night. I said, "So this shit wants to get in my lungs. Like, God, I hope I'm alive when I wake up." It was nasty. It was bad. Okay. But obviously, my immune system still had enough that I could eat some barbecue on the way home from Kansas City, and I recovered relatively quickly. It was less than the flu for someone like me. But that got me the sense when I started to hear about this nonsense and the quercetin and the hydroxychloroquine, the ivermectin, all that stuff. Folks, this is honest. I haven't sniffled in 6 years. I have not had a respiratory virus, and I'm not going to get one because I've got plenty of zinc stores in my body, and my cells are not resistant to letting zinc get into the nucleus to nuke respiratory viruses. That doesn't mean that I don't ever feel anything, but I just double up on what I'm taking and it goes away. To me, this is a very compelling case, and yet, as a pharmacist, my heart is broken because many of those that are closest to me won't have it. They're in the
Sure.
emergency room and they're doing this. They're taking amoxicillin when they've got pneumonia. They absolutely won't listen to a word I'm saying until they think they're going to die. And and then and then maybe it's a little too late.
Well,
I
what,
never
what,
give
what,
up. Go ahead, Sean.
well, no, no, no. Why is that? Why is it the so it's either amoxicillin or the Z-Pack, right? Like you go to the emergency room and they're like upper resp. It's always amoxicillin, and you go, no, I'm allergic to penicillin. And they're like, oh, fucking Z-Pack. You
Right.
get a Z-Pack. Um, and I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I've had several times taken a course of Z-Pack to get through something, especially when I was a cigarette smoker.
Yeah.
I don't have that problem anymore now that I don't smoke cigarettes. Yeah, you guys all watch me hit the vape. I have zero issues. I've had zero upper respiratory infections in the last 6 years since I switched to a vape. I'm not recommending you do anything, but if you need to get nicotine delivery, find a different method than cigarettes, is all I'm saying. But why, again, so amoxicillin, possibly penicillin if you're not allergic to it, and Z-Pack. They're like, and then go away, be gone,
But
right?
that's for bacterial infection. Viruses, yeah, viruses usually run their course because your immune system is geared up to get rid of them as long as you have zinc and as long as zinc can get into the cells. And as stunned as I've been about Dr. Science, and I'm going to get to a something that I want to say to him, but I'm not there yet. I'm I'm a Fox viewer, of course, a post Vox viewer, and I'm watching Michael Siegel and Nicole Saphier and that unctuous Jeanette Neshawat, going on about COVID and all the rest of it. And yet they'd have a story about this man who was hospitalized in LA because he was sent home from the ER because, it wasn't that bad or whatever. And then he got in the hospital and they started him on the remdesivir. They did this, they did that. And now he's on death's door. The guy's been given last rites. And guys, we'd all kill for a wife like the one he has. All right. Because she absolutely went mama bear on the doctor and said, is there any hydroxychloroquine in the hospital? And the doctor said, oh, that doesn't work. And she said, look, we're giving last rites to my husband.
Right, and right to
I'll,
try at that point, right? Right to
right,
try.
right. I'll pay cash.
Yeah.
Please give it to him. And so the doctor relented and hung a 1,000 cc bag of hydroxychloroquine. And this man, and you can look it up on Fox, I believe probably scrubbed it, but this man took it IV. And after being given last rites, 2 days later, he walked out of the hospital cured.
Yeah.
Now, from the German perspective of evidence evaluation and objective truth, that should have changed everything. And it changed nothing. I said,
Right.
I'm going to yell. And this is when I first became aware of the mendacious grifting aspect of the biopharmaceutical complex. They didn't want to cure you. They wanted you to die so they could get paid.
I mean, it's hard to not look at what they have done, and so the Emergency Use Authorization (EUA) took out hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in a combination of other things like zinc is
Right.
a treatment, right? And well, you and I and other people looking around going, it's the fucking
What?
flu. Most people will heal, but why do we have to take your weird fucking Paxlovid, or why do we have to get a shot that's never been tested? And look, Trump's done a lot of great things. I think he was misled here on getting
Oh,
an EUA on a compound that changes your ribonucleic acids.
unless I'm mistaken, hydroxychloroquine was timidly approved to be used. And then the next thing we saw was these same mail-in ballot governors in these blue states banning the use of hydroxychloroquine. And Andrew Cuomo, who shares parentage with Dr. Science, and I'm about to get to that, restricted hydroxychloroquine use unless you were in the hospital and near the end of life. And yet Sandoz Pharmaceutical donated 30,000 tablets. Jair Bolsonaro made it over the counter in Brazil and cut COVID cases from as high as Mount Everest down to nothing.
Hmm.
And this was all happening. And this is evidence for people that believe in the scientific method. And I'm like, isn't anybody watching this? Why are we being propagandized? What is going on? And the answer is your health, your personal health. These people that are in charge of caring about your health don't give a shit about your health as long as they can make a few lousy bucks from pharma. I can't come to any other conclusion. And it wasn't even a few lousy bucks. In fact, let's throw in remdesivir. And this was my introduction to Twitter. And Sean, you would have loved to have known me back then. I came in a wide-eyed child looking for information, and I'm descended upon by these publicly funded accounts of people telling me that I'm out of my mind and I'm stupid. And where are your controlled studies? I'm like, uh, does real world experience mean anything to you people? Do you care at all? And the answer was no, not if we're getting paid. We're going to take the party
Hmm.
line and the hell with all of you. And on top of that, Lord Dr. Science went ahead, and this, I remember this outrage more than anything. I've talked about that Patriot nurse in Tennessee many times. I'm going to mention her name again.
Yeah.
She busted them. She found out that remdesivir got you, if you used it, got you a 22% bonus on the entire hospital charge master if you use if you use remdesivir on a COVID patient. So the COVID protocol that we all succumbed to and listened to them about was, hey, yeah, you got COVID, you tested positive, but you're not having any trouble breathing. Go on home. If it gets worse, come back. So they come back. They come back, they get him in there. Hey, let's start remdesivir. It's got an EUA for this. Let's do it. And of course, it's nephrotoxic and it destroys your kidneys. It could never be approved for anything, all right, because it's so dangerous. And it destroys your kidneys. And when you destroy your kidneys, your lungs fill up with
Hmm.
fluid because you can't clear it. And you're diagnosed with COVID pneumonia, you're put on the ventilator, and the next call is for the hearse.
Right.
This is so ghastly. It makes me want to weep. This was
Yeah.
what I was in that machine. This is what I was signed up for. And I totally rejected all of it. And I decided to become a voice of freedom. And no one listens.
I think, look, I get it. So I think where I was awakened to this is I spent 10 years as a drugstore manager or at one of those big multinational, formerly American drugstores that's on every corner. And
Rhymes with shoots, right? Yeah, okay, all right.
it well, yeah, Boots Alliance is what they are
Yeah,
now,
there you
but
go,
that's
yeah.
not what it's
British.
called
Yeah, I love
inside
those
of
Brits, man. I
that's
love
not what it's called inside of America, and Greg Lawson is the reason, so you can figure out exactly who I'm talking about if you go figure out what Greg Lawson was the CEO of.
oh, yeah.
Uh, we
Germans
literally
Germans and
so
Brits have this great relationship. Anyway, go ahead.
flu vaccines, right?
Yeah.
We would go to the district offices management every year, and they'd say, "Hey, we got flu shots. We'll have them regularly shipped to every single store." Well, we paid literally 37 cents this year as the contract that we negotiated. You guys are going to sell them for 35 bucks, and because of the profit margin from pennies to $35, we're going to let you, or we're going to give you guys $100 gift cards to run competitions in your store to see how many people you can talk into getting a flu vaccine. And so when I see, like, I've seen doctors, especially out of Britain, say, that's not the model. I say it is absolutely the model. Tell me you're lying by not telling the truth. I can prove it, and then they block me.
No, but Sean, no lap dances? Because we had that in Vegas, right? No lap dance for the
we we these people did well. Listen, you're talking to employees at this point in time, so this would have been around 2002 to 2012, right, with the flu vaccine, that employees are making a little over minimum wage, but they're making 8 or 9 or $10 an hour, or maybe the cosmetic girls with her what they called PMs, which were kickbacks from cosmetic companies for
of
selling
course.
certain products, right? A 25 or a $50 gift card meant something to them. And so they're like, yeah, hey, have you had your flu shot?
That's right.
Hi, welcome to Boots Alliance. Have you had your flu
That's all
shot?
that's all it takes.
Well,
No,
A1,
it's
A1C was the other one too. They used to set a table up at the front door and say, get your A1C reading and see if you need metformin.
oh, another wonderful medication. Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, gotta love that metformin. Yeah. You could take cinnamon and do yourself a lot more good, or maybe have a glass of wine at night and do yourself a lot more good, but, oh, yeah, metformin, yeah, you gotta have it. It's look, alright, I'm gonna break it out now. Dr. Science, he's an Italian. When I lived in New York and notice, Sean, I haven't yelled yet, have I? I mean, my voice went up a little bit, but
Not
I'm
yet. Not yet.
I can tell you that this subject violates me to the core of my being, all right? This is my life's work,
Right.
and it was trashed. It feels completely pointless, all right? And I'm not asking anybody to feel sorry for me. I obviously made a decent living at it and whatever, but
No, no,
I
no, no. Let's be very clear about this. Does anyone believe you, the pharmacist, or believe you, the doctor, at this point, if they don't believe in Doctor I am the science? And it ruined so much of what we do with healthcare.
Sean, they when the truth is finally told, and it will be, it won't be this year, but it's coming. They forfeited the prestige of Western medicine. When I was a young lad, and I mean, we're talking about going to Sunday school and all that stuff that I did. I mean, I had a Charlie Kirk youth. I mean, we on Sunday we went to church. We did this. We
Yep.
did that. I was rapt. I would listen to Neil Chait looking at the law on CBS. I'd listen to all the hits from UC Davis and the medical breakthroughs, and the medical world fascinated me. And in fact, in a way, I'll admit this, I thought maybe they had the clue for immortality. You go to a funeral, you think, yeah, I won't die that young. We're obviously making all these breakthroughs, and these guys are brilliant, and we're in good hands. And it helped. And when my mom died of leukemia, it helped attract me into this field because I never wanted. Oh, sorry, but I never wanted another 18-year-old son to feel like I felt.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You want to heal. You do. You want to heal people.
I lost
And
like I early in adulthood. So 30, I lost my dad to complications from Hep C, but ultimately it was sepsis.
right,
But same thing. 5 years later, Hep C was curable. He just
right,
wasn't there at the right time. So you're talking about advancing the technology,
right.
not
There,
in the way that Dr. I am the science was advancing it, advancing it
oh,
for the common good.
we've talked about Patrick Soon-Shiong. In fact, people get tired of me mentioning him, but it's important. But there's now an injection that you take. You take one shot if somebody had what my mom had, and you don't have it anymore.
Right.
You know, so we were successful. But the idea that you're part of this complex that would do this, that would do something so ghastly, something so totally amoral to fellow citizens. And when the first time I heard Tucker Carlson say they hate you, I'm like, huh? Alex Jones, they want you dead. And oh, come on. No,
Right.
they do.
Right.
They do. They see you as a useless eater. They see you're striving in the world. They view it with contempt. And they don't feel like they're there to serve you. So it's logical that they would use you as lab rats so they could advance whatever agenda they've got at the State Department to figure out how they can poison our enemies or manipulate world events to help themselves. And you're just a keystroke, an afterthought, or a coffin for the state to buy or whatever. And all I could when this hit me full scale, I was enraged. And all I could think in my head was something evil this way comes. And I mean, look, Dr. Science is evil. He's evil to his
Absolutely.
core. I would recommend a short drop and a sudden stop at sunrise.
I for
And
years
I'd have no trouble participating in a firing squad.
for
And I
not
do
a
without
year,
hesitation.
not for a year, but God, it feels like a year. I have often said or made the comment that his pardon is no good internationally, and
No,
I don't know why Putin, who also lost people to this thing,
well, so
doesn't
many.
hold on, bring him up on crimes against humanity. Seriously,
Maybe that
extradite him,
maybe that's how we can solve the war. We'll give you
right?
Fauci. You lay down your arms. We'll give you
Well,
Fauci.
and I know
I
you
mean,
like
Doctor
people that are listening
Doctor
to this are going,
Science.
"Holy shit, you're fucking Alex Jones. You're fucking weird. The fogs are gay." No, no, no. I was thinking this out. If autopin, we can't reverse the autopin pardons fast enough. The guy committed crimes against humanity, so maybe it's not Putin because you think Putin's bad. What about Xi or Xi out
But
of
Victor,
China?
how about Orban?
What about Bolsonaro?
How about
What
Orban?
about right?
Yeah, the
Like,
Polish
what
guy.
about these other countries that cannot they absolutely can have a claim to crimes against humanity, which he
It would serve him right. It would
absolutely
serve him
did,
right if Xi got him. I mean, what the hell? I don't
right?
care. Yeah,
Yeah, let G do it. Well,
and
G
you
and
bargain.
G has a claim to it because the gain of function was being funded in his nation because of
Us.
NIHID, NIH, or say NIAID and NIH to be correct. So Xi has a clear claim to say, "Hey, you were producing a biological weapon inside of my country. We're going to prosecute you."
Let me just say this. I'm a connoisseur of really good theater, and there ain't much of it. But
I
Les
love it.
Miserables is a
That was my favorite one.
very good show. But obviously, it was so heavy in spots that you needed some comic relief. And this was the fastest 40 minutes in podcasting so far, and I haven't yelled yet. And no, I'm not going to yell, but I will point out that there was a talk show host in New York City who helped me cut my teeth when I lived up there in the 90s, and his name was Bob Grant. He was somewhat controversial because he told the truth, and of course, he was conservative, and he
Oh no.
absolutely gave no quarter to the Catholic Church or any other lily-livered communitarian appeaser, and he absolutely, okay, for example, here's Grant. I'll set it up before I give you the punchline. A caller, and these New York callers are the most aggrieved people on earth, and forgive me, I'm just going to talk about this. Mr. Grant, I don't understand this. Dinkins police chief, out of town Brown, he's useless. I mean, what, that guy, he didn't do anything crime. We got 2,000 murders, and now Clinton is making this guy the drug czar. What is that? And Grant says, well, they had two jobs left in the administration. He said one was a cigar store Indian, and the other was a drug czar. He said they already had Al Gore, so cigar store Indian was filled. So Brown's a drug czar. Now, there was one other thing that Grant did on his show that showed me that he had, frankly, had balls of steel. Cuomo, the elder, was the governor of New York. And the media used to swoon over him, but Bob Grant was not a fan. He developed something called the salute, and it's in Italian, and it goes like this: Mario, azzenda me, zuse provino sfacin. And then he go, and he is. Now, what I would say is Dr. Science is a sfacin. And for those of you that know Italian, you know what I mean. There you go.
I don't know Italian, and I will leave
But
that. I
let's
will leave
just
that
say,
there for.
let's just say Spacim is the reason that they need to change sheets regularly in hotel rooms rented by the hour. Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
no, I get it, and I was also gonna. We'll leave it exactly there,
It's a bit of a
because
stain.
we're
There
already
is.
testing. We are intentionally testing YouTube censorship today because they said they were going to make a change, although they've
Well,
posted a couple times that, oh, we're going
I
to make
mean,
this change on a limited experience for the podcaster, but we're trying it anyways.
fair enough. And I will say that as Mario before him, Andrew, Chris Cuomo, sons of Spacim. Absolutely. And Fauci fits the profile of a Spacim.
So, well,
And that is
no, that's
oh, no, no,
exactly
no. I
it.
mean Dr. Science. I'm sorry, Dr. Science. Dr. Science. This is
That reminds me, no. Really, literally. So obviously, and I'm not blaming the Germans for this. I give the Germans credit for all of their scientific discoveries, but when they were doing these things, but years later, right? You get
yeah,
a Doctor Science, or you can call him whatever you want, because he wasn't science for the purpose of
I call him
human health.
Mengele. That's who he is.
Uh, Good point. So I think he was doing these things because it gave him a mental hard on to make a virus that was so deadly that it would wipe out millions of people. Only because he thought that was science, and we're all like, "Don't do that shit." Period. You don't need to make that shit. We don't need to do, like, there's never gonna be naturally a virus that happens that way. It will never mutate in the way that Dr. Fauci paid to have viruses mutated. That's always been my point.
Dr. Science.
Dr. Science.
That's right, Dr. Science. My point about that guy is I love the fact that Comey got indicted. I mean, this is a watershed event, and I'm going to make an announcement on
Sure.
Orange Podcast Bad. You haven't heard me yell yet, and I'm not going to yell during this show because Edward's not here, so I don't need to whip him in line, or Paul's not here, so I don't have to try. I don't have to try to be funny to cut through the clutter. All right, but but the fact is, we're at a point in this nation where our elites have betrayed us. And you've got to internalize that so you can take care of the people that are important to you and to your family. And all of the expert testimony and the rest of it, it's all in ruins. It's done. The only thing that isn't over is the shouting. We've got to rebuild this. This is a
Yep.
big project. And medicine is a huge yoke on all of our backs. How do we straighten this out? Oh, Trump's cutting research funding. Look, they're all researching politically correct outcomes so they can get funded. He should zero it all out today.
Yes.
And,
Yes, and
and
specifically, so we were talking about gain of function, but then look at transgender drugs. Look at
yes,
SSRI. Look at SSRIs. Take a very
yes,
very good look at that. Take
ADHD.
we can keep going down through ADHD. Like we can just keep going down this path of what people have been experimenting on with humans with no positive results, none.
None,
Right,
none.
and if they had positive results, and that's what I don't think people understand. Bobby Kennedy, socialist, totally would have taken away your guns, is looking at as he wants people to be healthy, and he's go, "You guys never researched the good. All
Any
you
of
did
it.
was research how the bad happens, and can we make more bad?"
Right. No, no, no. Hey, listen, the guy's brilliant. All right.
Sure is.
They were all upset about the Tylenol thing or whatever. He
Ah,
cracked the door. He cracked the door open. That's what you have to crack the door open. You have to keep knocking until someone answers him. And obviously, there's been no blowback from that. It was just a little bit of chatter. But the point is, now we're in the
well,
arena.
you got this
Now
stupid
we
trick.
can look.
You got this stupid TikTok challenge where pregnant chicks are downing Tylenol. Well, I'm just gonna say it. I am not a doctor. I am not even a pharmacist, but
It's
acetaminophen
okay.
is
You're too cool to be
terrible
a
on your
pharmacist.
liver. Terrible.
Too cool. You're too
So
cool.
if you chug like 12 of those, you could die.
Well, a lot of people don't think about the common sense of this, Sean. The fact is, and I can say the name glutathione, it's the
Mhm.
it's the enzyme in your liver that acetaminophen you depletes. But a therapeutic dose for a average woman, like let's say Erica Kirk, all right,
Yeah.
is so much higher than what a fetal liver can tolerate.
The thing's this big. Like
There's
the entire human being is this big.
Yes, there's no reason at all to use it. There's no reason to subject the child to those concentrations of that poison. And I see them laughing. Oh, so you can space out the poison. Well, it will do less harm if you space it out, but you've cracked the door open as to what other agents might be causing problems. And the only way you can get this done is by researching it with
Yeah.
honest research, not
Yes.
the kind, and I'm going to tie this back to the other, not the kind of research that they ran on COVID, which was, oh, hydroxychloroquine doesn't work. We used AI to eliminate any study that had zincs. So if there's no zinc, then hydroxychloroquine does nothing. No shit, Sherlock. All right, I'm not yelling. I'm not yelling. No, the whole idea of the hydroxychloroquine is to get zinc into your cells. If you take zinc out, hydroxychloroquine doesn't work. Same with ivermectin.
Right.
And yet they were so dishonest. And I had these, God, I hate these people. These public employee people in Iowa, and these, I can name them, I'm not going to do it. but the ones that reported me to the pharmacy board, God, I despise those people. Anyway, but the whole idea is if you, oh, not those studies, these studies, and they were already using AI to self segregate anything that would tell you the truth.
Right.
They lied all
Right.
for money, all for a few lousy bucks. It's just, it's so heinous. I feel like I'm incapable of outrage, but you can see that I'm not even emotional about this. Is
I
just true.
I
It's
like
horrible.
a lot of people who will watch this. I think they're going to be super interested in where we're going to go with this, probably over a few weeks, and explaining how you get to the cure. Well, we are explaining our outrage because our outrage was. Well, I'm looking at you're calling us political names like fascist, and I go, do you even understand what happened during
You
COVID and what these evil, evil people did to you in the name of a buck? They made a buck.
for a few
People
lousy
died.
form of
People
bucks.
died.
Oh,
People
and
died.
you know that once
They
I
could have been
zero in,
treated, and what like what I God. There's so many great X accounts we could promote right now. We're not going to do it yet, but that were like, no, I literally had to leave my practice and start a new practice in a new state so I could treat people properly.
right. And I mean the Texas Medical Board is still hounding Mary Talley Bowden.
That's
Still,
one of them.
even
There's many others.
she's been vindicated. I, I'm like, what does it
And
take
it
for these
wasn't like
people to
she didn't always say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to give you ivermectin." She's like, "No, let's look at what's going on with you, and let's see if we can fix you." And we could probably bring up 2 or 3 dozen different medical professionals that have experienced this and have lost their jobs and had to start new careers just so that because they felt they wanted to actually help fix the issue, treat the patient, not follow doctor science.
these people are so ingrained in the system that they went to court to stop her from giving ivermectin to people laying in their deathbed.
Yep. Wait,
Now,
wait. Isn't right to try wasn't an executive order? Right to try, I believe, was passed through Congress.
yes, yes,
Why are doctors not allowing people who are on their deathbed a right to try something?
because of an injunction that'll be overturned after the patient is dead. Now, if you listen,
Jesus.
there's a 5-letter word for that, and it's called ghoul. All right. The fact that you would do that, whether you wear a black robe or not, makes me want to damn you. I'm sorry. I cannot believe that you have people in our legal system that would deny a person on their deathbed the opportunity to try something that may work when nothing else is working and the hearse is sitting downstairs warm and you're being given last rites. And like I said, you hang a bag of hydroxychloroquine and 2 days later that same person that you say is dead will walk out of there back to their family. How do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself making a decision like that? The names, Steve Sisolak, Gretchen Whitmer, these are just disgusting human beings. I'm not yelling, but they are vermin. They are vermin. And these are Antifa backers and mail-in ballot mail outers and all the rest of this. This is just a cancer.
I
And and we've got to fight.
I totally believe, yes, I totally believe that all of this was politically motivated. And I totally also believe that some of the people that were backing this, at least as on the camera, on the phone, or whatever, taking the videos, they had no idea they were just like, this is what we're doing. This is the cause. This is what we're gonna do. We are gonna absolutely destroy. We have to say hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, zinc. can't help anybody. Otherwise, we won't get emergency use authorization, the EUA, into the public by the federal government. And I think,
Sean,
look, a lot of people will listen to me and say, "But you're pro Trump, you're pro MAGA." Oh, of course I am. I think those same people misled Trump to say this is the only way, and one of those would be Doctor Science. Like right at he was speaking right there in front of him, and he was in the meetings, and he was telling, "No, we have to do this mRNA." Now, I would have even been more convinced, you're gonna get weird here, if they would have done a live virus vaccine and not the mRNA.
is anyone the slightest bit surprised that Mike Pence was in charge of that group?
No.
Mike Pence is a traitor. And you can say he's Christian this, he's Christian that.
Mike Pence wanted to be George Herbert Walker Bush. It's
Mike
never gonna happen.
Pence, Mike Pence is a traitor. All right. And he got exposed for all time by Tucker Carlson in the Glenn Beck candidate forum. It didn't get a lot of press coverage, but Tucker pointed out how, hey, you're a Christian leader, right? Well, yes. What's happening to Christians in Ukraine? Oh, uh, Zelensky's shutting down their churches. He's arresting the clerics. He's doing this. He's doing that. Are you going to speak out on that? Uh, 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 uh,
Oh,
you know that.
by the way, Mike, they put landmines
Yeah.
around the Russian Orthodox churches inside
Yes,
of
they did.
Ukraine, and this would have been under President Zelensky,
Yeah.
that you're praising.
Hey, Mike,
Any comment? And
is it
that was the comment.
is that
Uh,
freedom of religion, Mike? Mike, is that
uh,
freedom of religion? So you're a faith leader, right, Mike? I mean, what went on there? And we can go back to January 6th. We all saw the real Pence right there, didn't we? Oh yeah, yeah.
dude,
What a stand-up guy.
I was living
Irks
in
and
Indiana at the time. RFRA, Religious
Irks.
Freedom Reforms Act.
That's him. And
That was
Doctor
the guy,
Doctor
and so
Science.
he made it criminal to what the Constitution already said was criminal, and he
Right.
celebrated it. He's
He
like,
did.
Look what I did! Look what I did, everybody! Look, I made a constitutional thing, another law. It's the same fucking law. It's the same constitutional law, but here I am. Like you can't go. God, the dude. So I think Rush said it best. The dude was a milk toast Christian.
No, he was typical of a modern pastor. Sorry.
Yes, yes.
It's like, I
I
mean,
wish Edward would have been here for that one.
I'm sorry, but I mean, I follow a lot of people that kind of try to hold Christians to account, and I may have said this on the last show. I apologize for repeating myself. I'm not yelling, but she's saying, hey, I looked at all the major churches and their Twitter feeds and everything. No one's saying a word about Charlie Kirk. I said,
Mhm.
okay,
Somewhere, very
yeah.
few, very few.
What what did you expect them to do? Did you think that the nation would be in the situation we're in if they were the type of people that would speak about such issues? Of course not. They are moral cowards.
I
And
I've actually
and
I've looked at this over the years. I've looked at this. Let's start like maybe from Bush. So I've attended what are called non-denominational churches for 25 years, 35 years maybe
you have my
as a
sympathy.
kid. So yeah, no, hear me out. So, but if you go look at the placard on the inside of their vestibule, it's going to have something, and it's going to name the church and the LLC that is the church, and it will say something Baptist. And I'm not ripping on Baptists for everybody. You just hear me out. Hold on. I'm not ripping on you. I also know because Satan, the ex-wife I married, had her father was a
Hey,
Lutheran
that
pastor.
two-timer, I married her too.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
I
go
do.
ahead.
We were married to the same chick. It's
Uh,
Satan. He told me, he's like, no, no, no. There's two places where all churches buy their programming from, and it is what it is. You buy the programming, whether you have a church that has the big screens on the walls, or whether you're a little church that you just preach the message of that day. They're all getting the same programming. And I'm not, again, this is not an attack on Christ churches. This is an attack on humans that have turned this into a monetary product. And Charlie Kirk was reversing that. And I think there will be. We talked about. I don't know if you were here. You might have been here when I brought up that I think Turning Point's actually going to start Turning Point churches,
Shut
not just college campuses. They're going to
No, no,
start
no.
churches.
They're up to 80,000 requests for chapters now. 80,000. Okay.
110 is the last number I saw.
All right. Well, no, no, but my point is, anybody in the audience want to guess how many there were before? 10 years of sweat equity from that kid, barnstorming like an old Negro baseball league team, to play a game against the professionals anywhere just to get a little airtime. 2,000 in 10.
Right.
Now, what was it? 110,000
110.
in 2 weeks.
And this will
In
turn into
2
not just school
weeks.
chapters. This is going to turn into, you're going to find a local Turning Point church in a neighborhood near you. You are. It's just, it's inevitable because
We are in
one of these kids that's 19 or 20, maybe 21, that's in seminary right now, maybe at Notre Dame or maybe at some other place, is going to go, you know what? I feel compelled to start a church. They're going to start a church and they're going to call it a Turning Point church.
listen, listen. What's happened is, sorry, I'm not going to yell. I'm just trying not to cry. They've ignited the Holy Spirit.
Yep. Yep.
Okay? So what the RNC and all the rest of them don't realize is that you're already out of business. You're done. You're done.
CPAC.
This
CPAC
was your now.
worthless
This was
now.
CPAC might have a little traction internationally, but probably not because he was international too. This is the death knell for establishment orthodoxy on the right. This is it. You guys are finished. Take your retirement package, take your early buyout, get the hell out because you're finished. These young people are ignited by this. They've seen what can happen and they're going to do it. And Trump predicted a golden age. Well, it's kind of like Reagan. You say it, you manifest it into existence. That's what's going to happen.
I
And
totally agree.
it's a force you cannot stop. In fact, going to the popular culture, Marcus Brody sat there with the Nazis, going up to look for the Holy Grail, and he says, "You're dealing with forces you cannot possibly understand." That's the truth. Because believe me, there are legions of young men every bit as talented as he was
Oh yeah.
that have seen his model and are anxious to implement it in the same way that all the talk radio hosts implemented Rush's program following his breakthrough in the 90s. It's the same thing. The grassroots are absolutely blazing, and it's a fire that can't be contained.
I it so for people our age, right? We can't
We're done. Yeah.
yeah, we can't replicate Rush, but we can carry on that message. But his whole point was, they can't separate you from MAGA. I got the video. I'll play it at some point in time. Is that MAGA was here before Trump? MAGA will be here after Trump. And so when you see a Mark Ruffalo or you see a Robert De Niro,
They're so
listen,
funny.
I get with old, very old left wing TV watchers. That they're something. They are, but they're not. What they don't get is they're not something to somebody who's 17 that will be able to vote next year in the primaries being 18. They're not something to somebody who's 24 or 30. The Hollywood has absolutely exited left when it comes to controlling politics, and these young men who want to be Christian, young men are going to retake politics.
Christian leaders.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're gonna see
And
and what it's gonna drive the senior citizen left wild when all they see on their phone is these young Christian leaders out
witnessing.
there doing exactly what Charlie Kirk was doing.
Yes. And on top of that, you're sitting here, you're sitting on top of a powder keg. You're talking about a generational change. Uh, it as I said on Star Wars, the old order is being swept away. It just
Mhm.
got a really hard push. And you ignite these guys, and they're going to go for it. They want to make their mark in the world. They want to get this done. As American Idol taught us, and I'm not the most popular culture current guy there is, but as American Idol taught us, there are any number of people that have the same talent as those that are blessed by a trip to Epstein Island. Okay, you don't need the blessing of the establishment to make it now. You've got your phone, you've got your video, you've got your podcast.
Go
Get
live.
after it, brother.
Go live.
Make it work. And old guys like us will subscribe. I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
We're not going to lead this, but we'll absolutely support you.
Well, that is the thing is that we're not going to lead it. Obviously, well, we're going to subscribe. We're going to be a part of it, and we'd absolutely support it. But it's going to be they do not know what they did, or she
Oh,
correctly said it in
she
Hebrew. They
oh
know
she
not
aced
what
the
they
exam.
did, right?
She aced the exam.
Did you see Tim Allen came out and said, I like Tim Allen. I've always liked Tim Allen.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's got a cocaine problem. Who cares?
Yeah, no,
It's
who
not my
doesn't?
problem. It's not my problem, right? It's not my problem. Well, Sean, if he's a Christian, stop. Just stop with
Just cut
that.
it out.
What people need to understand about Christians is that the church is a hospital for sinners, not a club for saints. That being said, Tim Allen came out and posted, I watch what I've struggled my whole life with my father's killer. And I want to, after watching Erica Kirk, I want to publicly forgive the person who killed my father.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And so Erica Kirk is in a different way than Charlie. I don't know. It remains to be seen how public she is, but her moving turning point forward is going to be the biggest thing to Christian conservatism that's ever happened since the Protestants in the days of William Bradford. So you're talking a 400-year span, I believe.
You could say that, or you might say Martin Luther, for God's sake, because
Yeah, you could
yeah,
do Martin Luther.
yeah. I mean, the whole German thing, right? But
Uh,
but I mean, but the point is that we can think for ourselves, and we shouldn't permit the establishment to think for us. God gave us agency. God gave us brains. God gave us the ability to sift and sort evidence and consider alternate views. Embrace the gift of life. So many who are about to lose it would do damn near anything to preserve it.
yes.
And And yet we just take it for granted that we wake up every day. And if I may, Sean,
Mhm.
Anthony, send me to say provino sfacin.
Yeah. All right, we got to close this one out, fellas. We've made it to the time. Thank you everybody for listening. Man, if you guys listen, I'm just asking as a favor. I know JC already reposted, but this one's we covered a lot of information that you probably need to hear. So if you guys could also repost it for us, it would mean a lot. But we got to close it out. So, JC, I'll talk to you in a minute.
Sounds good.